Michael, Rob, and I this morning came in to play Call of Duty 2, 3, and World at War, just kind of the more recent World War II Call of Duty games. Leading up to the release, Sledgehammer and Activision's release of Call of Duty World War II, the next installment coming out November, what's the release date? 3rd. Thank you. And so we wanted to kind of get Callie's take, because she saw a lot more behind closed doors. It's up now on the site, right? Your impressions. So go read that after the stream or right now while we're kind of talking about it here. I want to get your impressions of that stuff, but then I also kind of want to move on to a broader discussion about whether we even want to go back to World War II. My answer has changed since I watched the trailer today. Not like super negative, not to get into that yet, but it's worth talking about. Yeah, I was whelmed by it. Just like, who said that? Someone in the chat.
It was a Reddit comment. He's like, wow.
First off, you know what threw me off just while we're watching the trailer? Oh, he was right there. That actor, what's his name?
Josh Duhamel.
Josh Duhamel, the last thing I saw him in was the Black Donnellys, a very short-lived, I think, FX show about this Irish family that takes over the Irish mob in Boston.
That sounds dope.
It was really good. It got canceled. But that was the last thing I saw him in. What else is he in? Anything? Do we know?
Transformers.
That's what it is. Okay, thank you. I knew it was
I know
something.
who you're talking of now.
Yeah. But anyway, Callie, let us know what you... So there's stuff you still can't talk about? Or is there?
No, it's all fine.
Okay. Hit us with it.
Last week,
on that wink.
I went to Sledgehammer to see some behind the scenes stuff. And so, I mean, this trailer is very much a Call of Duty trailer, but I got to see a couple missions in action. So obviously there's a Normandy mission, and we saw that. And then Hurricane Forest, which is known for the Germans would do tree bursts, which is when they would put artillery into the trees to create shrapnel that would rain down on the U.S. soldiers. And so I got to see that sequence as well.
Ouch.
Yeah, and the reason it worked so well is because U.S. soldiers were trained to... when they heard artillery to fall flat, like on their stomachs, and that made them huge targets for shrapnel. And so, first I want to talk about Normandy. I think the biggest hang up I had is like I've seen Normandy done. We've all seen Normandy done. Yeah. It's an iconic World War II moment for sure. But there's this one section that really stuck out to me, and it's when you're playing this like 19-year-old recruit who's like a private in the Fighting First
from Texas,
from some state, and yeah, sure, Texas.
It is. He says at the end of the trailer.
Josh Duhamel is from his character's from Oklahoma, so I still had that in my head. But yeah, basically, you're kind of going up the beach as you do, and he has the Bangalore torpedo, and he fumbles it, like he just can't get it to work. And I liked moving from previous Call of Duty games, maybe Sledgehammer's previous being Advanced Warfare, and then I played a lot of Black Ops 3 and not so much Infinite. But it's like, it's nice to return to something where you're not overpowered super soldier, like feeling like this is a kid who was thrown into this war. And it's that little detail that made this game made me optimistic about it. Like, oh, I like that they're kind of acknowledging that most these guys were, 17, 18, 19, no training, a week of basic, and they went to war. And it seems like they're trying to treat that with a lot of respect and not over glorify this war, which has been over glorified for years and years and years. So that stuck out to me. And then the Hurricane sequence is actually super cool. And just when the shrapnel's raining down, it was like reverberating in my chest. We did watch it in a theater, so that the sound system was good. But yeah, so I wrote all about that and how those little details could really set this apart.
Is it going to be the same character throughout the whole playthrough? Or do you not know yet?
Actually, yes, that's one of the things I was most excited about, that I didn't write about too much because it's not new for Call of Duty. Finest Hour did this, but you switch perspectives to a female French resistance fighter. So it's a sniper sequence, sort of like the Russian sniper in Finest Hour. And it sounds like it's going to be there all gillied up, basically. Mm-hmm. It's just like a slower, stealthier sequence. But I was really excited because I went into this being like, it's World War II. I don't know if there will be any playable women. And then it was like, just kidding. Here's playable women for multiplayer and single player. And so I was actually really excited about that. But it's mostly following the 1st Infantry Division.
Gotcha. In terms of Big Red 1, Call of Duty Big Red 1 did it before. But it's interesting to see because I think a lot of the World War II things we've seen, at least from the American perspective, is like these elite soldiers. Saving Private Ryan's, they were Rangers. Band of Brothers, they were the 101st paratroopers, airborne. And then obviously, you have like Marines in the Pacific. But the fact that these are like draftees, you said,
Yeah,
like
they're
very
like-
2 weeks of training, that'll be interesting. And you're like, not people who wanted to be there, didn't really, particularly say, I want to go into training so I have someone well-trained in the foxhole next to me.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they do that because the trailer did not give me that impression.
No.
Everybody in the trailer is like, let's get to work. And I was like, get the fuck out.
See, that's the thing that disappointed me so much about the trailer is very like, oorah, Call of Duty, war. And I didn't get that sense from anything I saw while I was there or anybody I talked to. I mean, the whole team did so much research and immersed themselves in like super upsetting details about World War II. And they had this military advisor and everyone seemed really dedicated to it when I talked to them. And of course, part of that is like, of course, you're going to talk about that first and foremost. But the Normandy sequence in particular just doesn't feel like the trailer makes the game seem. And granted, this is hands off. I saw gameplay. I didn't actually play it. So that's subject to change. But my impression is very different from what the trailer creates. And it seems like it's catering to like the idea of what a Call of Duty fan is. And when I think of Call of Duty going back to its roots, I mean, I remember playing the originals and I've never considered myself part of that demographic. And so it's like, it seems like the game itself isn't trying as hard to cater to that, but the trailer was just so...
It's just so, it's too familiar.
Yeah.
We've seen, like we were talking when we did like a little bit of a breakdown.
I don't want to see Omaha Beach again. I don't want to see Utah Beach.
Right. I mean, there are a couple shots that are clearly influenced by Saving Private Ryan.
The over-the-shoulder view.
The over-the-shoulder silhouette of the
MG-42.
gunner. The fact that they hop off the right side of the landing craft into the water, like that whole shot was just straight from the movie. So you see that and you go, well, yeah, I mean, I know what all this means. I know that movie. Everyone knows that scene. It's one of the most, culturally impactful scenes of like, cinema history. Like it was such a big deal. So yes, they're going to pull from that. But again, just hearing you talk about it, Callie, is great because I needed to hear that. I needed to hear a different take, other than looking at all these familiar shots. Again, this is not the trailer we saw. But
I mean, just to conclude that thought from what I was saying earlier, it's like the details and the attention to detail that I saw in the sequences that I got to see that weren't in this trailer are what could set it apart from being the same scenes we've always seen. And so that's what my hope is there.
But do you think that they're going for these Saving Private Ryan-esque moments that are almost like ripped from the film? If you think about it, that movie is almost 20 years old,
right?
And so do you feel like they're trying to make something for a younger generation where it's like these older games that we made, you probably haven't played it, so we're gonna kind of show that side of World War II again, but for a different generation?
Yeah, actually,
20 years old.
That is a great question. I know,
feeling old
right?
now.
No, one of the.
Sorry, hold on a second. How old are you?
I'm 26.
You're feeling old?
Yeah. You're younger than me, man.
I know. I didn't say I feel old. All right. Never mind,
Anyway, no.
Kids these days.
I talked to the animation director, and he basically said that exact thing. It was like, there's a whole generation who didn't really have the same World War II media experience that kind of all of us did. And so that's part of I don't think it's going to be like a greatest hits of all the World War II missions everyone loves, but because that would be my ultimate nightmare, and I hate that. But it does seem like they're trying to reintroduce this for people because one of the guys I talked to has an 8-year-old kid, and this kid is like, yeah, Dad, we learned about World War II in school, but has no context for any of it because it's been 20 years since Saving Private Ryan. It's been 10 years since the last World War II Call of Duty. So that's might be what the hitting those familiar scenes.
Well, that's why I feel like Sledgehammer and Treyarch and Infinity Ward eventually started going futuristic because they didn't have the political ramifications because Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare series it was fictional, but it was based on real events.
Well, I mean, after No Russian, like, what do you?
Well, I mean, even the first game, it was Afghanistan and Iraq while this war was happening. That's, in a lot of ways,
Right.
that's fucked up. It was a fun game, and I love that game, but that's still, like, that war was nowhere out of our minds at all. It was still, it
Right.
wasn't ever declared war. It was a conflict, but you want to actually say, when you go to, like Iraqi freedom, and they depicted that, it was kind of weird. So they went to the future games, but now they're kind of going back to antiquity now that World War II is coming back around, I feel like, to
Yeah.
avoid maybe some sort of ramification and kind of pushback. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you can still get pushback from glorifying, World War II, or not showing, like, there's. My hope is that you have German soldiers who are kids the same way the U.S. soldiers are, and they're different from the SS, right? Like, I want to see that nuance, and like if they didn't do that, I would be like, all right, well, this is just another rehash of like Go America. So I mean, it's different. The pushback would be different from doing a war that is currently being waged. But
Is there any hint to that from the event you went to, that there might be more humanization of your enemy or other people within that you at war with? I don't know, because then I feel like one of the more impactful moments, like, we've all watched Band of Brothers Saving Private Ryan, but then the behind the scenes Band of Brothers stuff where they interview these soldiers, in the early 2000s, they're like, I remember, I forgot his name, but he was depicted in Band of Brothers, but he was like,
Winners?
no, it wasn't Winners. I mean, it was like Shifty Powers or something.
Powers, the sniper, yeah. He got in the plane crash on the way back after the war was done.
Oh yeah, he survived.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "What if I went fishing with that guy, that German soldier that I killed?
Absolutely.
Like, we
yeah.
probably would have been good friends because we just want to
So
like
powerful.
Yeah.
peace and go fishing and just enjoy nature. But we had to kill each other for this war. Like, I still haven't seen that
Yeah.
portrayed very much in video games. Not that I'm like, asking someone to do that. But, if you're going to go back to this, there's a lot of nuance that you can incorporate now that we've played so many of these games that are more of like glorifications of war and the big scenes like D-Day and Operation Market Garden, Battle of the Bulge. Like, we've seen that, but where else can we go with that setting?
Yeah,
Right.
well, that's what I want to ask you guys. I guess I could just go down the line. I don't know if you guys have certain ideas, but Rob, do you have any ideas what you want them to do? Specific fronts you want to see, missions? It looks like it's going to be
it's
an
only
American
European
squad, but
theater, Western Front, mostly 44 to 45.
what about missions in Europe?
Battle of the Bulge, I feel like isn't, because that was a horrifying battle. I mean, just holding those lines during the winter and like what went through. Like, I'd like to see how that could be depicted now. And again, like with all the humanizing tones, like just the Band of Brothers did the best portrayal of it. Like how they had like get up and push,
Yeah.
and they have frostbite.
Yeah, no
Like,
supplies,
Right.
warm clothes.
No supplies. They're just dropping due to the environment. Anything like that, I think, would be really interesting. And I'm curious to know how it would end, right? Because, I mean, historically, the Americans didn't hit Berlin, right? The Russians hit Berlin before us. So it's like, how will this wrap up? And again, I'll have to touch on Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers ended very, we talked about the last two episodes of like that series was more about like how the soldiers like were holding themselves after the war.
Well, yeah, Shifty was the one who said, like, how am I
like-
going to explain this to people back home?
Like,
Yeah.
how are they like? They're still, the war is over, and they're still like in occupied Germany, and they're like fighting each other for the most part, like their own like comrades and everything. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what route they take.
Yeah. I don't know. What about you two? Michael.
I mean, when they announced that Call of Duty was coming back to World War II, I was like, maybe I really do want to like see this again, because I grew up like studying this stuff, and it's been a long time since I thought about World War II. I mean, I read a lot of books, Stephen Ambrose and Tom Brokaw, like their books of World War II were part of, my interest in this at a young age. And then now that I'm older and I can kind of like contextualize all that stuff, and I play a lot of video games, I would like to see some of that more in-depth stuff portrayed, at least in the game. If this is going to be, I mean, I understand from reading your preview that it's going to be, you're playing this guy and you have a tight-knit squad, and it's more about, at least from what I got from your preview, is that like not just the war, but the war within himself.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
How, like having to deal with this major conflict at such a young age, like that's cool. I think that if that's executed correctly or well enough, like that'll be enough to hold my interest. But at this point, I want to see different environments. I want to see parts of the war that I may not know about, but I'm gonna play through this and see what it has to offer.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is they really stress like wanting to put you in, like they wanted to put you in that situation, like make you feel like you were there. I don't think that any piece of media can really do that. And I also want to see the like ramifications of war executed properly. One of my favorite novels when I was younger was A Separate Peace, and I liked that because it was never about the war. I mean, it was set during the war, but it was more about people. And it sounds like, I mean, this is a very character-driven story, but if it's not executed properly, I think it can really just fall totally flat. Yeah. And so I just haven't seen enough of character or of like the plot or narrative around them to really get a feel for that. And so that's like my biggest unanswered question.
Do you guys think like Call of Duty is the franchise that would be the first one to really portray war in a meaningful way?
I mean, I think if you
like, it's the Call of Duty. Like, I can't even stress. Every time I look at numbers, it's insane. I mean, like we know it sells well. We're not dumb, but like it's huge. Yeah. Do you think something this big would take that risk?
I mean, well, that's how they started, so they have that foundation to.
But that's not how they started. They started with 2003 was Call of Duty, and that was just like that wasn't. They didn't say anything meaningful about that. They just portrayed World War II. I don't think they ever have. I mean, like pre-release for Infinite Warfare, they're like, we're gonna put you in this. We're gonna show you what it means to. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, but I think they have to. We kind of talked about how tired. Like, I mean,
they have.
We are tired of. I think they have to. I think like you can't. They can't just fall back and do the exact same thing again.
No.
So there's one thing they could do differently. Is what we're talking about. Like,
exactly. Like otherwise, everything adds up to like it has to add up to something, or else it's what's the point?
Right.
Like
to make however like $1 billion.
Yeah, I forgot about money. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I would love for them to actually tell a well-made story, but I think Battlefield 1, when they were showing their trailer and everything, and they're like, it's really going to be about the causes of the people that take place in the war, but it's not. It was they made you look heroic. You're in the fucking suit of armor coming across the battlefield with a machine gun. Like they're not. I mean, again, I think it's my instinct to hear this PR stuff and say, okay, well, let's wait until November, and then I doubt Call of Duty is going to do it, but. It can still be fun. I'm not saying it's not going to be. Like, I want to ask you about multiplayer and loadouts, which is completely contrary to what we're talking about now.
Right.
I'm still, I have a hard time listening to Activision and Sledgehammer saying they're going to do that when I'm almost positive they won't.
Oh yeah, I mean they can say that they want to do that. From what I saw, there's potential for them to do that.
Yeah.
Is basically what my preview is about. But yeah, if you want to talk about multiplayer, we know very little.
Yeah. To move on to less to lighter stuff. Yeah. What do you know about multiplayer? And did they even say anything at the event?
Barely. I mean, we saw the teaser image, like that 2-second thing from the live stream was more than I saw at the event. Basically, the one thing is the big thing that stood out to me was they're adding a new, it's called War Mode, and it's supposed to be like narrative-driven, Axis versus Allies, iconic World War II battles. So it's, I forget what the mode is called in Battlefield 1.
Operations?
Yes.
And so it sounded sort of in that vein, but I don't know anything else about it. But the other weird thing was that they're doing something called Headquarters, which is like a social space that sounds like Destiny's Tower.
Or Titanfall 2's
Their lobby system or
yeah,
something?
What was that called? It was the clan system.
Well,
I forget what it's called.
I don't remember.
But okay, sorry, go on.
But this sounds more opposed to like a menu. This sounds it's like an actual like walking space.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like an actual location, so not a multiplayer lobby, but like a play like. And it was like you get rewards and recognition. I'm like, is that a cool outfit? Like, what does that mean?
That sounds so dumb but
get
awesome.
a new chevron.
Just like that time setting, but it's like
I'm never gonna get into a multiplayer match. Just hang out at HQ. I'm not fucking fighting.
I just want to hear a little kid singing Frozen songs. Do you want I'm like, World War II setting, like it's just gonna be like it's gonna give me an aneurysm watching.
Yeah.
Oh,
So not sure what that means. Again, very few details. The other thing was like, oh, there's divisions. It sounds like classes. Like, oh, you can be infantry division or armored division. And then, of course, take a shot every time they say boots on the ground. That was the other bullet point, was boots on the ground gameplay. So obviously, like, that means TDM and all that stuff, most likely. You would shock me if you were like, oh yeah, they got rid of team deathmatch.
Yeah,
be like, yeah, you're stupid. So not a whole lot to go off of. I do want to talk about the co-op teaser that they showed.
Oh shit, yeah, go for
I
it.
didn't see any of that. I figured it was going to be something zombies related, but yeah, they basically show a Nazi zombie.
'Cause this will be the first time Sledgehammer would have done zombies. Because
No, they did exo zombies. Didn't
Oh,
they?
they did that the dumb one in
Yeah. No, they've done zombies.
Advanced Warfare.
Yeah.
But in terms of like zombies, like Infinite Warfare, because Infinity Ward for the first time did it with Infinite Warfare.
Right. Zombies in
Sledgehammer did it with
Spaceland
Advanced.
was their first
Okay,
zombies
right.
foray. And so this wouldn't be Sledgehammer's first, but it would be more in line with Treyarch zombies, I
Sure,
get.
yeah.
I mean, like, that's the impression I got from the one image they showed and the fact that they were like, it's about the Third Reich doing stuff. And I was like, all right,
some
that sounds like...
Wolfenstein stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like... Oh my God, Mike wanted to talk about Wolfenstein.
We just got
so
triggered.
bad.
Me
Did
and
you
Ralph.
segue on purpose?
No.
Sorry, finish your co-op.
My bad.
That's all because I'm so excited because Rob looks really mad.
No, I'm more
Jamoke
mad
over
that
here.
he.
I'm not.
Don't
I
call me a
never.
jamoke.
I never said
Son of a
you were being a galump right now. I never said that New Order was better than Castle Wolfenstein.
Then why are we talking?
Because it is the best, most recent World War II game. Even though it's alternate history, I didn't say it has to be historical.
Dang. Hey, throw hands
I
right now.
didn't say I don't like Castle Wolfenstein.
Mike, do you like
Wolfenstein: The
Mike,
New Order is
Mike,
one of
do you
the
like
best shooters
Poison?
in the last. Do I like Poison?
Yeah.
Did you?
Poison.
Oh my God.
The band?
Sorry.
Anyways,
Co-op in Call of Duty World War II has you excited because of the Third Reich doing
I wouldn't
things.
say I'm excited. I'm just I wanted to talk about it
Intriguing.
because I'm. They didn't say anything at the event, so that was like
gotcha.
a surprise to me during this live stream. Yeah, so they showed one picture of a zombie-looking dude, and they're like, "This is co-op," and I mean that's to be expected, but I'm interested, I should say, to see what they do with it.
I'd be interested to see like how much money they make off like zombies DLC, because maybe they're just making so much off that they're like all three studios have to do zombies now.
there
I
is
remember-
a community, man. There is a strong
And I love
community
zombies.
for that.
I love zombies too.
It's gained so much momentum that I wonder if they like cannot now. Sorry, they have to do a zombies every time.
We were talking about Modern Warfare 2's Spec Ops co-op stuff.
yeah,
I really
that's
like
what-
That's
that
what
was
the
the challenge.
multiplayer I was
About that.
hoping for was that
Yeah.
you sounded, and to have it more of a narrative or it's just like one-off missions like stealth. Like there are
Yeah.
some good ones in those Spec Ops, like as far as teamwork goes with
Right.
Buddy.
I mean, it could be like that. We don't know anything about how it'll actually play out. They just showed. We have the story on the site now, I think. They just showed an image of a zombified
Great.
dude. So who knows if it's going to be like they said it was going to be a new story, so it could be more story driven. I don't know.
Okay.
We don't know a whole lot about those two things. We know the most about single player.
So
Nazi zombies are returning.
nah,
Who knows?
they're already here right now.
Like here in the
Infinite
office?
Warfare. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a sick way to end this show.
It was nice. It was nice
Oh,
meeting
and then
y'all.
we all.
Yes,
Yeah.
November 3rd, Call of Duty World War II. I'm sure we'll know more in the coming months, especially with E3 on the horizon. I don't know if they're doing a Call of Duty XP event again down in LA.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting we were both there because
Yeah. I didn't really enjoy that.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Activision.
It's yeah. No, but I guess I should mention that the multiplayer will be playable on the show floor at E3.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll play that.
So that might mean there's no Call of Duty XP because E3 is open to the public this year. So
Right.
that's sort of the opportunity for them to show that off to fans. So yeah, I mean, we'll learn more about multiplayer and presumably co-op around E3.
Cool. Sweet. So November 3rd will be Call of Duty World War II on PS4, Xbox One, PC. As usual, from Sledgehammer, it's their turn with the Call of Duty franchise for the year before it goes back to Treyarch next year if they keep that trend going, which I'm sure they will because I'm sure this game will make a lot of money. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see more about multiplayer. The trailer, I think I'm a little lukewarm on. I think I got too many Battlefield 1, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers vibes. I wanted to see
Especially
them
that
do
plane
some.
shot.
It was a very It was a very or like Dunkirk even. Now you with the Stukas, the propellers and stuff. That was cool.
Yep.
Stukas are cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing more from it. But let us know what you think. Let us know whether your plan, if this is going to pull you back to the Call of Duty franchise, if you've been away for a while. Let us know what you think. And if you're in the chat here while we wrap up, let us know what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube or GameSpot after the fact.